the WOWaero channel and the amazing world of paragliding. I'm really grateful and I'm super excited to have you here so I can share with you all I know about flying. My prime objective, the number one goal that I've set for this channel, is to teach you everything that you must know and do to become a safe and an independent pilot. If you think about it, paragliding is an extreme sport. Flying is not natural to us. So if a human being launches himself into the air at the wrong time, we do not have wings to flap or fold so we can land safely. I know that many of you who are watching this video are at the very beginning of your flying career, so let me share with you 3 things that you must address to make flying a safe and enjoyable sport for many, many years to come. The number one thing that you must address is how to select a school and the right instructor just for you. The number 2 thing that you must address is how to pick the equipment that will keep you safe and enable you to fly for many, many hours and be comfortable at the same time. And the number 3 thing is, what basic skills must every pilot master in order to become safe and an independent pilot? But before I go any further, let me tell you about my experience in flying. My first paragliding experience was one of the most terrifying, actually, it was the most terrifying thing that I've ever done. When we landed, my hands were shaking uncontrollably, and that lasted for about, I'd say, a good half hour, even more. When they stopped shaking, not only I knew that I had to learn how to fly on my own, I also knew that I have to become good enough to share this wonderful experience with other people. The next 7 months after my first tandem flight, I spent researching different schools in different countries. At the end, I picked a school in Austria because I really think that Austrians have an obsession with making things perfect. Also, paragliding is an extremely popular sport, and at the same time, Austrian schools tend to be much smaller in size. So one day in the summer, I packed up my car and I drove out to Austria to begin my paragliding career. My first instructor was Mark. He was a super nice, super mellow, and super intelligent guy who could explain all the different concepts to a person who was really scared in a very nice and relaxed manner. After that, I got to travel to many different countries and observe many different schools. I went to France, I went to Italy to train with one of the best acro pilots. I went to Tenerife to fly with one of the best cross-country pilots, and I also went to Las Palmas to train with a former Red Bull X-Alps competitor. And of course, I have to say that the Mecca of paragliding, Olo Dennis, which was very high on my list, and I hope it will be high on your list, came to me 4 years into flying. Now, at each place and every place I went to, I observed different schools bringing students, some local schools, some traveling schools. And the more I was flying and the more I understood of what's going on, the scarier it became. I think that when you're choosing the school, you must talk to your instructor and see what their priorities are. Because I think that once they receive a paying client, they get their priorities mixed up. They think that their job is to issue a license, where in reality, an instructor must teach you everything that you need to know about flying safely and how to make independent choices. One thing that is important to stress, and maybe this is the most important thing that I should be mentioning over and over, is that flying is extreme, and the ultimate choice of fly or not to fly lays with you. So if for whatever reason you don't feel comfortable, don't fly. Never allow anybody to rush you at the start. If you feel rushed, if you feel too stressed out, just pack up your stuff and leave. Maybe you need 15 minutes, maybe you need 15 hours, but the most important thing to know, if you don't feel 100% confident, do not fly. If you do just that one thing, I'm sure that it will save your life. So once you pick out a few different schools, it is time to go visit them. I think visiting a school is a very important thing because it will give you an idea of what your day and what your training will be like. Go to their training center, look around. Is that the environment that you will be able to learn in or not? Go down to the landing area, see how the students land, and you can also take your car and drive up to many starts. Now, if you cannot drive a car, there's probably a cable car or teleferic that can take you up there. Spend some time, and especially spend some time if the weather is difficult. See if the instructor chooses to cancel flights or actually send off students in a very strong conditions. If you feel uncomfortable, maybe that's not the right school for you. And you know what? There are hundreds and hundreds of good schools and good instructors that will be a right fit just for you. So make sure you make that investment before you start flying. I think you achieve two objectives. Number one, you'll know what to expect, and number two, you will pick a school where you will feel comfortable. The big question that you need to answer for yourself is, will you be comfortable and will you be safe in the school that you will choose to fly? So you visited several schools, you saw how they operate, and now you're ready to make your decision. Here, all I'd like to say is that whatever decision you make, it will be a right decision. This is totally subjective. Maybe you like the size of the class that they have. Maybe you like the instructors. Maybe you like how well their students improved. Whatever it is, the decision is ultimately yours, and go with the school that you felt most comfortable with. Selecting your equipment is quite an exciting and an extensive subject. I personally spent hundreds of hours building different tables, researching designers, test pilots, etc. And I know that this stuff is not even entering most people's minds. But for me, it was necessary, so I was able to place my trust and my life into hands of people who produce paragliders. When you're in flight school, you'll have a chance to try different wings, and you should definitely do so. My first wing, the wing that I flew with for the first time, was not really comfortable. There was nothing wrong with it, but it was just not my thing. Even though I had a very limited experience, I decided to try something else. My second wing was the Easy, made by Air Design, and that for me was just the perfect wing. I spent the next 2.5 years flying my Easy. I took it everywhere, and I knew it so well that no matter where I flew or what happened, I just had the trust and confidence, and that enabled me to stay with the sport and continue climbing higher and flying further and staying more and more hours in the air. So if you have a choice, if your school offers different wings, just definitely try them and pick the one that you feel that is right for you. Again, this is a very subjective decision, and go with the one that you like the most. Now, wings are characterized or classified by different safety classes. What that means in very few short words, if something happens in the air and the wing loses its shape, what happens and how much time will it take if you just go hands up? You put your hands up and you count seconds, and that wing has to reinflate and remain the same course. So congratulations, you picked your school, you completed your training requirement, you have your license, you picked your brand new wing, and I hope it's an ENA wing so you can know that you are alone in the air and you are as safe as you can be. Now you can go flying. Actually, you can't. There are some basic skills that you must master even though you have a license, even though you have your equipment, and even though you're excited and ready to go. The three basic skills are: number one, you must know your equipment. Number two, you must know how to read weather forecast for flying, and most importantly, to know when you are not allowed to fly. And number three basic skill that you have to master is ground handling. Ground handling is when you find a big open field, whether it's a beach or a grassy area with no obstacles, you lay out your equipment and you practice connecting, you practice bringing it up, turning around, moving it left, right, up, down, just doing a lot of different things with it. And at some point, it becomes so much fun that you will not want to stop. For me personally, if there is a strong wind on the beach, I am always playing with my glider, because no matter what happens on the ground, it's the safest environment to learn. If you talk to any professional pilots, top-level competitors, cross-country or acro pilots, they will tell you you have to ground handle. I actually had an experience where the best tandem pilot in my local flying area came up to me and he said, "Man, you have no business flying. You need to take your paraglider and you need to go and stand in the field for hours. After you've done a couple hundred hours, come back here." And you know what? I did. And actually, it was the best advice that I followed. I spent 3 months, March, April, May, of my second year of flying, just practicing how to ground handle. Now it's to that level where I come to the start, I lay out my equipment. There are a lot of people around me. Actually, it happened last week. We had a tandem training course. There were 19 students. Our flying area, our start area, is very small. You put out 3 paragliders and there is no room. Imagine having 19 people. I got my turn, I put out my glider, I open it, I look, and I feel something is wrong. I cannot tell what was wrong. I could not see. I just felt that something was not right. All the people are saying, come on, man, let's go, let's go, let's go. You know what I did? I packed up my stuff and I went on the parking lot. Once I opened my glider, I saw that my brake line was hooked on my glider and there was a little nut that was holding it. Now, when I was standing at the start with all the people around me with so much pressure, I could not see exactly what was wrong. But because I spent so many hours ground handling and I know my equipment so well, that I knew that something was not right. And I think that really saved my life. So if I can give you one thing that you should spend the most time with, is ground handling and learning your equipment in a safe place. And that safe place, again, is a big grassy field with no obstacles or a beach. We are fortunate here to have a beach. If you fall down, it doesn't really hurt and there are no obstacles. So if you get dragged behind the wing, there is nothing to hit. So find a big field, go out first, start with the light air, and then as your skills improve, go play out in the stronger winds. You'll be surprised how much fun you can have just by being connected to your paraglider, staying on the ground. I actually really am waiting forward to the winter, because in the winter the winds, strong winds come and I can actually go skiing on the beach. I put my glider to the side and it carries me one side to the beach, and I put it to the other side and it carries me to the other side of the beach. And if you spend time ground handling, I guarantee you that it will save your life and it will make flying so much more enjoyable. You will be so relaxed at the takeoff and you will be in complete control. Again, I really am grateful that you spent all this time with me. I will be making more videos and breaking in details, talking about equipment, talking about safety, forecasting weather, flying sites, all the different things that I learned about and I want to share with you. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and give me a like so you can get all the notifications. Now, before we part, make safety your number one goal, your number one priority. You will be really glad you did. At some point, it will save your life. And at the end of the day, it's your life. You have only one. So live it well, make choices right. And if you don't feel comfortable for any reason, do not fly. There is always tomorrow, a day after tomorrow. And I hope to see you in the air and I hope to see you on the beach. So we'll practice ground handling together. All the best to you and I hope to see you soon.